All right, these are the visuals there. You can see Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, and we speak about the lead up to this, right? This Minister joining us in studio. It's important because the meetings that took place in the lead up to this moment included the finance track. And the finance track is where the issues, for example, Unati, of debt were spoken about, that we heard the President speak about. Is also some of the issues of the payment systems. But I do think the Minister is starting. Let's listen in.
Did you get the return on your investment?
It depends how do you classify a return on an investment. If you say today I've got an investor with 20 billion rand, I'll say no. But if you say this event has profiled South Africa as one of the top emerging economies who's fit for investment, it has done that. So I'm quite convinced it has been a successful event. All the delegates that are here, and you must have listened to some of these presidents that have been talking to you, all of you here, that this has been a successful event.
Any other questions? The panel, expert panel on Africa, they've made a number of recommendations in that report. How are you going to include it in the recommendation? What's going to be the...
Two aspects to the expert panel report. The first thing is that we want that report to be owned by the whole of Africa. And as a result of that, the African Development Bank, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa are going to take possession of the report, and it becomes an African product which is going to be carried forward. That's the first point. The second point, some of the recommendations of the report are part of the financial track report recommendations. So it is part of the, it has been institutionalized in a sense.
And the implementation of some of the recommendations of the reports, like the refinancing initiative?
Mind you, what's going to happen when we move here? In April, we'll be sitting in the Springs meeting of the IMF and the World Bank. Among other things, is to carry forward some of the recommendations that emerged from the G20 Summit.
I guess just on behalf of ordinary South Africans, Minister, who have been watching this meeting in the past today, can you just articulate what this actually means for them now that this official summit is closed?
You must understand this is an international event. It has got nothing to do with brick and mortar for now. What it does, it rotates between different countries. You can see it's the 20th event today, and the last one is going to again start with the United States of America. What it does, it debates how do we together deal with the economic challenges facing the world. And secondly, how do we translate those challenges into support for emerging economies, including South Africa? And if you look into that over time, we're going to see the effect of this in terms of the support that's going to be generated for the emerging economies, including South Africa.
Minister Lamola, this summit has been seen as a victory for multilateralism. How do we keep that momentum?
Yeah, indeed, it's a victory for multilateralism. Ironically, yesterday also, the COP30 declaration was also adopted in Brazil. So it's clear that multilateralism is growing and it's being reaffirmed by all countries of the world. There's an understanding that multilateralism serves us well, all of us across the globe, and that's why even at COP30 there was an adoption of a resolution in South Africa. The Global South is providing leadership that has never been seen before, that these institutions that have been created after the Second World War have served us well. We need to maintain them, but obviously there is a need for reform of some of them, like the United Nations Security Council and other platforms. There is a need for reform to ensure that there's representativity of the Global South, and that's why South Africa's position with regards to the Security Council is this reform to reflect the realities that most conflict the Security Council deals with are in the African continent. So including this G20, you will have heard a discussion on the reform of the international financial architecture. All those will be taken to the various platforms. Madiba has already spoken about some. We also have some at the AU level, at the UN level, the civil commitments, financing for development. So all those platforms will add momentum to ensure that member states adopt the outcomes of these decisions into their domestic policies and socialize it to their own population to enable them to become realities of policies in their own countries.
And Mr. Lamola, has the U.S. confirmed that the ambassador will indeed be at the close-ups next week to officially receive the handover?
No, we have not yet received any formal communication at this stage that confirms that. But we have said that if they want it to be done, we remain open and available at an appropriate equivalent level at the DERCO offices. We are very open to that communication, and it's up to them. Yeah. From us, the ball has moved. We're done. So it's up to them. If they want to come, we were available and we're open, and an equivalent ambassador will do the honor.
What I must add is that this is a rotational issue. A handover is merely ceremonial. The Americans from the 1st of December effectively become the president of the G20. Whether they've come to collect to hand over or not is ceremonial.
But is that some of the priorities that were agreed on in the declaration could potentially be watered down or potentially even be moved under their presidencies?
As I understand it, I don't know the other tracks. I deal with the finance tracks. The finance track has its origin from the global financial crisis. And therefore, there are standing agenda items which relate to us managing those issues. I don't think the Americans will likely to change that. Of course, everybody, when it takes over, you put your own footprints into it by developing your own specific priorities. But broadly, the G20 will remain focused on some of these strategic issues.
Legacy of hosting this event, G20 Summit.
You want to state that and add?
What did you say?
What is the legacy of hosting?
Oh, okay. No, it has been a great legacy for our country, the first in the African continent, and we believe that we have represented the country with aplomb. And South Africans have been amazing with all the working group meetings that have happened across the country. Table Mountain in Cape Town and many areas of Cape Town where meetings were held, in KwaZulu-Natal, in Mpumalanga, Kruger National Park, in Limpopo, in Sun City, Pilanesberg, here in Gauteng as we close the curtain. So it has been a huge, huge success, and there is a lot of infrastructure legacies, including here in Gauteng and in many parts of the country where it was launched. But there has been a lot of also very impactful programs. The Compact with Africa, it's a clear one. You will have heard the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, how the Compact with Africa on the G20 has begun to revolutionize Ethiopia. The Compact with Africa is also making an impact in the various states. The issue of debt to the cost of capital, Madiba can speak more on that. It's also a legacy for the African continent. The issue of financing for climate change, it's a huge legacy for our continent, which is disproportionately affected by climate change when we contribute very less. So in a nutshell and in closing, this has been a great success for our country, and I believe that South Africans can stand tall, that they've hosted the world, they've announced that they can continue to be a prime platform to host international events and to shape international geopolitical issues. Thank you
Very much, colleagues.
Minister,
All right.